networks give the impression that tech companies are the best places to work. One former Facebook employee says working there was no picnic. In his new book, he describes hostile emails that went out from founder Mark Zuckerberg, a KGB-led
Truth about
police
Facebook,
force,
guys.
a sexist atmosphere with strict dress codes for women and none for men. With me now, former Facebook advertising manager and author of Chaos Monkeys, Obscene Fortune and Random Failure in Silicon Valley, Antonio Garcia Martinez. Antonio, welcome. We're glad to have you. Why did you decide to write this book? Why now?
Come here. Come on.
You know, I think where we are with technology is really a formative part in sort of human history. And I think things like social media like Facebook are comparable to things like Gutenberg's printing press or the Industrial Revolution. And I know it sounds kind of highfalutin, but a century from now, people will ask questions like, what was it like to have all the world's knowledge in a small device in your pocket? And I wanted to record that history and what was going on.
Well, you're quite right. I mean, we're clearly at a crossroads for a society, especially connected society, if we want to phrase it that way. You said in the book, though, that working at Facebook was like being in a North Korean cult. So you were not in a North Korean cult. I'm pretty sure, but why did you choose that analogy?
You know, it's funny. My parents were Cuban political exiles, and they fled Cuba, and I have distant cousins who still live there. And there was one moment that's in the book in which the day that Zuckerberg announced that we were going public, and we're all sitting there in a tent, all wearing the same clothing, branded with corporate logos. And, you know, he was giving a speech to rousing applause, and the headquarters is actually papered with inspirational posters. And the sort of almost, I hate to use the term because it gets misinterpreted, but the almost sort of sweeping corporate fascism of it kind of struck me. And I realized
Hear that?
that I was...
It's run like Nazis, guys.
Which, by the way, isn't a bad thing. I mean, there's a saying in Silicon Valley, the most successful companies or startups are always cults, and Facebook was definitely that. But that's really why I made that somewhat stretched allusion.
Do you see the fact that Facebook, and listen, I am not defending Facebook, I do not have a dog in this race, as they say, but Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah, you
go
do.
and hire
Your family,
Sheryl
dummy.
Sandberg, and it does seem to be this kind of move towards, for lack of a better term, helping the company mature. Did you see any of those steps in the right direction or not?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I spoke very positively.
She's the lean forward idiot.
I think she was very proficient at what she did, which was effectively run the ad side of the business. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is brilliant in many ways, but I don't think he takes a huge interest in ads. And so I think Sheryl, I hate the term because it's almost cliche, but Sheryl was definitely part of that adult supervision that he brought in. Yeah.
What was the most shocking part to you about working there, whether it was the sexism, we didn't have time to talk about it, but the fact that females had a stricter dress code than males, or anything else that you realized, okay, this isn't the place for me?
You know, the sexism thing I didn't really see myself, but I don't know, I can really speak to that. I think the more shocking thing, and it's both good and bad, I think, was the level of motivation, at least at the time, at Facebook. You know, one tends to be a little bit cynical. And when Zuckerberg gets up and says, we want to create a more open and connected world, we think there's some sort of more monetary or mercenary subtext to it. But the reality is people there really, really believe in that. And people there really, really won't stop until
They got 'em fooled.
literally everyone on the planet is staring into a phone with a Facebook logo on it. And now that might sound scary to some, but if you're part of that organization, it's thrilling to be a part of that. And yeah, that's their goal, basically.
All right, Antonio, thanks so much. Glad to have you here. Interesting conversation.
Later, guys.
Antonio,
Subscribe and like to my channel.